John Rothstein with CBS put Florida State at number 13. How do you feel Florida State's going to be this upcoming season?
I think they're going to be slept on again, and I think they're going to overachieve again.
Hey guys, it's Terrence Mann. You're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. Go Noles.
Hey, what's up? This is Peter Ward, a.k.a. P-Dub, in the house. So we're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. Go live, go Noles.
Hi, this is Charlie Ward, and you're listening to Hear the Spear. Go Noles.
This is Terrell Buckley. You're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. No Bloody.
But perhaps better known as the greatest corner to ever step on a football field, Deion Primetime Sanders.
Great Deion Sanders, my brother. What's going on, man? I could wake up to that greeting every day, man. That was awesome.
Hello, Noles fans. This is former Seminole Derek Brooks, and you're listening to Hear the Spear, presented to you by Noel Game Day.
James Wilder Jr. What's going on, James?
Thanks for having me on. FSOD, Florida State or Die, and go Noles.
William Bar None Floyd.
Gentlemen, what's up?
What is happening, guys? This is Logan from Hear the Spear, presented to you by Noel Game Day. I'm the owner-founder at NoelGameDay.com. With me this evening is Austin Veazey, our lead basketball writer, Dustin Lewis, our lead writer and editor, Nate Greer, our lead recruiting insider, and then hopefully here in a few we'll have Karlos Williams in here, 2013 national champion running back. But what's going on, fellas? It's North Carolina week.
I think we're all very excited.
I'm excited. Whenever there's prime time football and Doak at night, and there's a chance, we saw a little bit of some optimism against Notre Dame, a little bit. It could be. Is it upset week? We'll see.
This would be a fun game with a live crowd. With an in-house loaded up Doak Campbell.
At night, baby. At night. I'm looking forward to it. Should be good weather again. The last time I was in Doak, it was 2 weeks ago, and it was gorgeous. The sunset and everything. Florida State came away with the win. So we'll see what happens. That preview is later on in the episode. I'll go and let you guys know now. You can listen on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube. Hit that subscribe button so then you'll be notified whenever we release a new episode. If you want to leave us a 5-star rating, leave a review too. It helps a lot with helping us grow and reach some more FSU fans. But we're here. It's North Carolina week. I penciled this one down early on during the offseason once the ACC schedules were released. And, there's a lot of good storylines that go with it. The number one obviously being Sam Howell and all that. But and I think it's going to be a pretty interesting game, and we're going to preview that later on in the episode. But let's go and jump into the quick hitters of the week. Obviously, number one, this happened yesterday, I believe, 247 Sports Knowles 247. Put out a report that Tamarion Terry was indeed going to have surgery on his knee. Actually, this morning, which we're recording Thursday, he came out and tweeted he had a successful surgery. It's probably expected that we're not going to see him for a good amount of the season. We might not even see him back. That's something that we will discuss now. But Tamarion Terry won't be there on Saturday against North Carolina.
Hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Takes away all optimism from last week.
Yep. Yeah, coming off last week's performance, you could tell he was banged up a little bit. He was limping around, but he fought through that, and I think overall had one of his best games as a Seminole. He played physical throughout the game. Sucks for him. Sucks for some momentum that the offense had, but next man up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like he's been hindering something for a couple weeks now. The way that he's been kind of jogging around when he jogs back to the sideline, I feel like he's been hindering something, and that's something I had an eye on, but it seems like something's gotten worse, and he has to have a surgery. But yeah, next man up.
And who's that going to be? I mean, you have Ontario Wilson, who's caught 14 passes for 133 yards to this point. But, I mean, outside of tight end Cam McDonald, who has 12 catches for 127 yards, you haven't really gotten much production from that receiving core.
Yeah, you hope guys like Keyshawn Helton and some of these other guys can step up, but we haven't really seen it so far this year. It's been Terry, it's been the running backs, it's been Cam McDonald.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think's going to step up? We talked about it in the production meeting, but me and Nate agreed probably Ontario Wilson here. But you're probably going to see some younger guys thrown in. I will I'm kind of expecting to see a little bit of Warren Thompson out there. Haven't seen much out of him.
Mhm.
Last couple of weeks we saw,
He caught a pass
obviously,
last week, man.
he got
On
a
fourth
first
down.
down.
For a first down.
Yeah, for a first down. So
Progress.
yeah, no, that is. It is optimism there. But who else? I mean, who do you throw out in there? Who do you guys want to see at wide receiver? Because there's probably going to be a few guys that we haven't seen a lot get some PT on Saturday night.
For me, Jordan Young. I'm interested to see him get some more reps because, athletically he's as gifted as any wide receiver on that team, but just something is not added up yet. And I think it's just a lack of reps. He's a guy who, has your size speed combination that you want from a college receiver, but he just hasn't gotten an opportunity. So this is a chance to come in and maybe prove some of those naysayers wrong. But I also want to see the freshmen. Eager to see what they can do.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Some of the true freshmen who we've seen a couple flashes of, guys like Ja'Kai Douglas, Kentron Poitier, and Darian Williamson. I mean, I would love to see some more of those guys moving forward this season, especially now with Terry out. You're going to need to establish some more options moving forward.
Yeah, I'm interested to see a little bit of Brian Robinson. There were some flashes early on in camp. Poitier also, like Dustin named. But I'd like to see a little bit of Brian Robinson. I think he already looks like he's been at FSU for 2 years. I think he's got really nice physical attributes, and that's something that I think you can kind of throw in, and hopefully Jordan Travis was able to have some good connects with them during practice this week, which we're about to get into. Obviously, Jordan Travis left the game against Notre Dame, and obviously James Blackman subbed in for him at the end, and he was hindering his hand a little bit. We didn't get to see really too much of it, but we saw on the sideline, at least from NBC's cameras, that he was holding his hand. And for the rest of the game, though, he was kind of just sitting there. I don't think it was even had anything on it, but he's most certainly expected to be the starter on Saturday, which is some good news because, Florida State's got a starting quarterback. I know there's been a lot of talk. Do we need to see Trevor Purdy, all that kind of stuff, but there's some good news, optimism for that offense that was doing some work against a really decent defense in South Bend on Saturday night.
I want to go back to Brian Robinson real quick, just to backtrack a little bit. If he's healthy, that's one guy I really expect to see more of. He's been a little banged up from that injury in camp, but if he's healthy, I really expect to see a lot more of him. I think he's probably going to be that third or fourth guy that plays more. But a lot of positivity from Jordan Travis and what he was able to do last week. I think that, if you can't look at this Florida State offense and not think that there's been a lot of rapid improvement, since he's come in, kind of a good matchup this week against the Carolina defense. That's one of the worst in conference.
Yeah, Travis really showed out last week. He's not the long-term answer for this position, but he's a good bridge quarterback that gets the offense down the field, which is something we didn't see in the first 2 games, except when he was in the game. So I think as long as he's still healthy, that hand's not bothering him. Yeah, it's good that he's going to be able to start.
Yeah, and Travis carried the ball 19 times against Notre Dame on Saturday. I just don't know if that's, a sustainable thing with how hard he plays. Like, he's not really a guy who's looking to slide or go down. He goes out there and he plays aggressive and tries to create contact. But one thing, if he is going to carry the ball this much throughout the season and with that type of play style, he's not going to be able to keep up durability-wise. So, I mean, his brother, pretty good baseball player. I'd love to see him, add in kind of like a baseball slide into his game to avoid some of the bigger contact hits that he's taken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing about him. He is fighting. He is aggressive, and he's going to go try. Definitely, if he's 3rd and 5 and he's got to roll out, he's most certainly probably going to, even if the linebacker is coming at him, he's going to try to get the first down, which is good. You like to see that kind of aggressiveness, but it doesn't need to be the case when it's 1st down, 2nd down. Just get your yards what you can get and slide. You don't want to lose him because after that, we saw when Blackman went in, that was immediately 2 sacks, which is I'm not even going to comment on that, but You look back also, what's the deal with Trevor Purdy? Because you got to look at a solid backup in case something happens with Travis. So Jordan Travis, I think right now is a solid quarterback for Florida State in the offense that Norvell and Dillingham are putting together just for the time being, and it's working. And keep with it, keep it consistent. And I think the offensive line is doing very well in front of him. They're fighting for him. And you're seeing a guy with Travis that's becoming a really true leader because you know what? He's making plays, and that's something that, Florida State hasn't seen. I mean, I think it's kind of shocked this offense. Maybe other guys that have been around the team like Tamarion Terry for a while and other guys, I think it's kind of shocked them that Jordan Travis was able to lead them on a few drives in South Bend and be like, whoa, okay, this cat's got it. So I think that was kind of a big wake-up factor for this whole team overall, offensively and South Bend. Defensively, yeah, we'll get into that. But Jordan Travis is really becoming a true leader on the field and off the field.
I know they scored 26 points. I missed the instant reaction pod. But they had a really good shot of putting up close to 40 points, which I think is one reason why I'm super excited about the offense is that Notre Dame's no slouch. They're one of the most physical teams in the country, one of the most experienced teams. A guy making his first start. I think that the offense, the staff, they schemed really well, and with purpose. And I think that for Florida State, I think that's what gives them a shot this week against Carolina's ranked number 5 in the country. But, they're almost as bad as Florida State on defense. And that's why I think that, this is a game that it feels a little different at the same time while having, those legitimate doubts that have carried on for the last 4 weeks. But did you guys talk about the Damian Webb on the Instant Podcast?
No, I was going to give our final thoughts here on the quick hitters about, just quick thoughts real quick on it after the game. But I was just going to run through Brandon Jennings and NFL Knowles and then get into that if you want to.
All right.
Brandon Jennings, 4-star linebacker, decommits from Florida State. Kind of a shock to a lot of people. Came out of nowhere a little bit. Obviously, was a legacy commit. And guess what? He's already expected to commit. And it's going to be tomorrow. By the time we're recording this, it's going to be tomorrow on Friday. And it's already kind of expected and rumored to be the Michigan route. This makes me kind of feel like, obviously Brandon Jennings committed to Florida State first, but it's kind of like got a Devin Bush kind of effect for me. I'm a Steeler, so I have this kind of feeling. But he's expected to commit to Michigan. But first off, Brandon Jennings gone from FSU in that 21, Tribe 21.
Which sucks because we've seen all season the linebackers arguably our worst position on the entire team. And Nate alluded to it in the pre-podcast meeting that there's not a lot of linebackers left out there in JUCO and recruiting and transfer portal otherwise. There's not a lot of options to get these holes fixed.
Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, it's a really big loss for Florida State. Obviously, Brandon Jennings, legacy commit right now, or he was the top-rated commit in the entire class. And, he was coming in at a huge position of need. We've seen how awful Florida State's linebackers are, and, they need a lot of help there. So to lose him from the class, and then especially like this, 3 days later, he commits, and he's already got a top 3. Florida State didn't even make it. It's Michigan, Miami, and Clemson that he'll be deciding from. And like Logan said, there's been some crystal balls that came in from Michigan. So, it's very disappointing. And, it shows from the beginning, I guess, that he wasn't really bought in to what he was saying. He was talking about coming back to rebuild Florida State, sitting there in his dad's old jersey, wanted to come through and continue the legacy of the Jones name at FSU. And then, he pulled that rug completely out and then just made this decision. And, I understand it because obviously Florida State has looked absolutely terrible on defense through the first 4 games of the year. No other way to say it. But, it's just very disappointing. So.
Now, I think, a lot of people have, for no reason, jumped on Norvell and his staff about how they've recruited. this could be the first complaint that they could legitimately have. So, here's a guy who is, you know, rankings wise, he was the top recruit in the class. I don't think that on the field he's a top recruit in the class. I think that's Luke Altmaier. But at the same time, as Austin said, it's at a position of major need, and it's a guy who could come in and contribute right away. So it's a massive hit to the class. It's a massive hit to a position that just has not done well at all over the last couple of years. So when you read his little decommitment note, it seemed like it was full of shit to me in the first place about how he didn't want to make the staff look bad by taking visits. My gut feeling is that it's been in the works for a while, and that instead of nutting up and just decommitting when he wanted to, he's waiting till the last minute. That leaves Florida State in a really rough position. I don't have respect for that. I respect that you go find what you think is best for you in your future. At the same time, there really is nothing there's not a lot out there right now in terms of high school kids that are not committed that are worth a take. There's not a lot of kids in the portal right now that are worth a take. And if you look at the JUCO route, out of the top 50 kids, I think all of them but 3 or 4 are already committed. So, you're going to have to go in and pursue a kid who's already committed to another school and try to get them to flip. So, for me, it's a major concern when you still have Quavian Fuller in the class, who I think is probably one of the worst players that Florida State's ever going to take. And at this time right now, they really can't afford to let him go because they need, 1, they need bodies, and 2, they need talent. And, I'm really interested to see how this unfolds because Norvell and his staff have had a plan. And, throughout this whole process, things have kind of unfolded to show you that, Florida State kind of has an idea what they want to do. I think this is the first time that they're really going to have to really figure this one out.
Mm-hmm. 4-star. Go ahead.
Like you said, Nate, not a lot of time to find a replacement for him with the early signing period just 2 months away. So national signing day.
Not to cut you off. Sorry about that, but and throw in there the lack of the ability to visit. So, let's hope that after the new year that they're able to open up the visits and do all that. So now you're going to try to sell a kid on something that they can't see and tangibly touch. So it's gonna be very tough for Florida State to fill those holes.
NFL Knowles. Let's move into something maybe a little bit more positive. NFL Knowles lately have been rocking. Obviously, I'm never going to talk about Dalvin Cook on an episode before he plays. I can never do that again because I feel like every time I do that, and I'm looking forward to it.
Hold his hammy.
Yeah, it seemed, was it like a groin thing? Do you know, Austin? He's on the phone, but I love how I bring this up while he's a Vikings fan. But I love Dalvin. If Dalvin was in that game healthy, they would have upset the Seahawks most certainly. Put my name down for it any day of the week. Obviously, the Vikings like to screw themselves, but Dalvin Cook, at least we got to see him in the first half, and I think he is the best running back in the world right now in the game. Unless you look at maybe Kamara and blah, blah, blah. But, Kamara the other night didn't really have a phenomenal game either. I think it's more of the quarterback's situation, him falling apart. But I love watching Dalvin Cook.
Have you ever pulled a groin muscle?
Yeah.
It's the worst shit ever, other than kidney stones.
Mm-hmm. I think I did it during track. I did hurdles. So I was out for a good couple weeks. I was bye-bye. It hurts.
Groin pulls aren't fun, and it does look like Dalvin is going to miss this week.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, Minnesota has a bye. So, hopefully a couple weeks off, he'll be able to heal up a little bit and come back. But right now, Vikings, not a ton to play for. Sorry, Austin.
Luckily, he's on the phone. Yeah. Brian Burns, though, popping off, man. He's having a good year so far. Happy for him. He's bringing a lot of pressure. I think he had a strip. This last Sunday, but I believe went into a little bit of concussion, but then they said it wasn't a concussion, and I think he had to go to the hospital. I don't know. I don't really have an update there, but I think he's going to end up being fine.
Concerning.
Yeah, just a little bit. Austin, you back with us?
Yeah.
We were talking about Dalvin Cook.
I don't want to talk about it. That whole game, I don't want to talk about it. Like,
I told
it's bad because you could see it coming. And it was just as close to.
Are they taking it for Trevor?
I hope so. Get Kirk Cousins off my team, please. Like, you can look at just the last drive and be like, oh, they lost because, you let up a last drive touchdown. Well, no, it's because Kirk Cousins had a meltdown in the first minute and a half of the second half where he had 3-and-out pick and then I think a fumble. Like, come on, man. What are we doing?
Is it Jameis Winston time in New Orleans?
They're not going to bench him.
Yeah, they're not going to bench him.
They're not going to bench you. Especially the fact that they came back and won.
No, I know. I know that. But at that first half, I mean,
I think if they would have lost, there'd be some pressure to
if Breeze would have kept on playing like he did in their first half,
if they wouldn't have scored that touchdown late in the second quarter, I think Jameis would have started the second half.
I think Breeze knew it too. I mean, Breeze kind of was like, "Oh, I got to get my shit together. I got to play my hardest."
It has to be Breeze's last season.
Yeah,
like he's
already got that.
Ugly.
Not good anymore.
I hate it.
Yeah,
I kind of like it because I hate the Saints, but that's about it.
Well, I hate them right now until Jameis Winston goes out there. Then I'm going to be a good fan.
Then when he goes out there, I'll cheer for Jameis to do well, and that's about it.
Yeah, Drew Brees, man, it's kind of fallen. But then again, he's a veteran, so that comes to the help of his case because then he goes in the second half and is able to come back. But still, that wasn't
Father
so great.
Time is undefeated, man. Father Time is infinity and O.
Except for LeBron's. I mean, LeBron's getting there. He's fighting it.
Yes. LeBron's just a different athlete. He's a rarity. But how do you think James would do that offense in New Orleans?
It would help Winston a lot because it's not like Tampa with Bruce Arians where they're just telling him throw it 40 yards downfield every time. I think him being told to take these checkdowns every so often would really help Jameis.
I think him and Kamara could be a close connection like he was with Devontae Freeman.
I just think Sean Payton is such a better offensive mind than any other head coach that he's dealt with so far. Like it would really help him out. So
I got in a massive argument at work with this guy about Jameis because I'm a Jameis fan. I think he could be an all-pro in that offense.
I think I watched Breeze play, and I do think Jameis going in there could fit really well. I mean, once Michael Thomas comes back, they got a tight end, obviously a running back that's one of the top three in the NFL, and I like the offense as a whole.
Yeah, there's a few offenses where I think Jameis would succeed really well in, which you would have thought it'd be Tampa with Bruce Arians because you saw what he did with Roethlisberger. But yeah, New Orleans is definitely one of those teams where you plug him in, and I think he'd do really, really well.
I would like to see him in coming in. I thought New Orleans, Pittsburgh, or the Rams.
Yeah,
but I think Goff's got that job locked down.
Yeah, and the money, he's got that damn 100-something mil.
What about Dallas? See how Dak comes back.
I don't think Dallas would be good for him. That's just.
I want to get him out. I think Dalton's fine there. I'm pretty cool with Dalton being there. He's got experience, and he was fine in the game. And he's gone to a good amount of playoffs too. But I don't want him getting near Jerry Jones and all that crap. Get him out of that limelight, because then if he imagine being on that, they got so many primetime games. God, if Jameis throws 2 interceptions, the world is gonna just fall apart.
Yeah.
But I'll take him in Pittsburgh any day of the week. But my boy Big Ben is looking like a top 5 quarterback this year, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Well, Father Time's gonna hit him pretty soon too.
Don't worry about it. Final thoughts on Florida State versus Notre Dame before we go into our top 3 worst segment.
Hey man, you forgot an NFL Null.
Who did I forget? Devontae Freeman.
Cam Akers.
Cam Akers had a good run.
His first game back from his rib contusion, he had 9 carries, 61 yards, and a 46-yard run. Best game so far in the NFL.
Yeah, and McVay said he's going to be definitely more of the offense moving forward. So
yeah,
good. I think he's a rookie, kind of had to warm up to the NFL in his first couple of weeks, and then I also look back at during Hard Knocks whenever I thought he would have woken up to the NFL whenever he got absolutely obliterated by Aaron Donald in their scrimmage. But I guess he's still a little warming up. But I think once he gets through that system and he's like, oh my God, there's like a little bit of decent blocking, I think he'll excel. Because I mean, obviously, LA Rams, their offensive line isn't amazing, but Cam Akers can most certainly carry an offense. We might have seen that the last couple of years in Tallahassee. And also, I think keep an eye on Devontae Freeman. Bye, Saquon Barkley. Bye. Freeman's got the job. I'm just kidding. But Freeman looks good. I think Freeman looks good. He hasn't had a lot of playing time and a good amount, and that offense was working with him, man. And the Giants' offense is dog shit. So, I mean, Freeman.
that whole division is not good.
Yeah. But Freeman looks good. I'm excited to see him continue there, and I think it's a good stage for him. Maybe, obviously Saquon Barkley is the franchise running back in the face of everything there, but if Devontae Freeman can perform really well this season, then he might have some options going elsewhere and then being a starting quarterback on another team. I think he looks good. He looked like his, what year was it where he popped off? He looked like he's so quick and fast, man.
I think his starting days are over.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be your third down, come in, spell the starter running back, and that's fine.
Well, that's what the other guy was the other night for them, or the other day for them. They had another guy that was that case. Devontae was leading them down the field. I'm just saying, don't sleep on him, baby. Don't sleep on my boy Freeman.
I love him, man.
Me too.
But,
Final thoughts on FSU Notre Dame. Nate, you have the floor first because we were talking about a running back. Speaking of running backs, and we're number 8.
Damian Webb, love that kid so far. He has decent speed, but his vision is really good. His balance is phenomenal, and he just wants to punish the defender. I really like watching him run the ball. I think that he needs to be the primary guy, and I think that they need to give Toa Philly more carries. He doesn't touch the ball enough with Notre Dame. He had 1 catch for 13 yards, I think, and just a couple rushes. He didn't touch the ball enough. I think you need to, as Dustin kind of alluded to earlier, kind of alleviate some of those hits on Travis. While some of it is schemed up that way, I would like to see him get some more carries. I'm really happy with the offense. I think that progressed very well. I expect them to play again much better this week. I think that they have the run game figured out. I think that losing Terry hurts the passing game, so I think that was starting to develop. But at the same time, it's a defense. They got their asses whipped. The second half was better. Marvin and Durden played better in the second half. But at the same time, that first half was just a disaster. I remember that in the second quarter, 21-3, and that's the difference in the game.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you just said right there. Against Notre Dame, I thought the offense showed some really encouraging signs, and I don't think anyone really expected them to perform maybe as well as they did against the Irish. So you've got to be excited about the game they're coming off of and going into this game against North Carolina, who does not even have close to as good of a defense as Notre Dame did. And then, it just really comes down to defensively. Are these guys ever going to show up? Are they ever going to live up to the hype that they got all offseason? We'll see. Marvin Wilson, I was looking at some of the Pro Football Focus grades. He's had the 2 worst grades of his entire career this season in the 2 biggest games, against Miami and against Notre Dame. So he's got another top 5 opponent on the schedule. Is he going to come to life this game? Is he going to do anything? Tackle for loss, a tackle, a sack. Just give me something. And I think if the guys make a couple big plays, that energy is going to come back instead of just being so down like they have been all season. So, I mean, we'll just have to see. I'm just not confident at all about that unit moving forward.
Yeah, I'm wanting to see how the offense will do without Terry. I know we talked about it earlier in the podcast, and how they replace him, how they use other guys. And like Nate said, I'd like to see more Lawrence Toafili out there with LaDamian Webb. I think all the running backs have had good moments so far throughout the season. If they got some more blocking, I think it's a really good backfield for the next couple of years. I don't think we need to talk more about how bad the defense has been. Like, at this point, it's overstated.
Yeah, going back to Florida State versus Notre Dame, takeaways for me, quick. Jordan Travis in South Bend against a really good defense, number 5 in the country, solid game. That is a great game in my thoughts. Obviously, had an interception. He was trying really hard there to put some points on the board. He missed a touchdown throw to Cam McDonald, but I'll take that kind of offensive play any day of the week facing a really good team in the country. It's you got to take some positives out of things. And then also LaDamian Webb, obviously, I think is your starter just because Toafili is a true freshman. Webb has experience in the JUCO level and college level, but he has great balance, like Nate said, and he needs to be used more and utilized more in the red zone because it's really hard to tackle him. And it's just, I don't know what it is. He kind of have like a little bit of a Devontae Freeman kind of feel with him. And then number 3, I want to keep an eye on Asante Samuel Jr. We saw him kind of hindering an injury at the end of the game against Notre Dame. You really want to see him play on Saturday, which we'll get into the North Carolina preview, but you really want to hope that he's okay because you're going to be facing a quarterback that knows how to throw the ball, and is a smart quarterback, has good wide receivers. So those are kind of like my 3 things after Florida State Notre Dame. Top 3 worst segment. This week, our topic is going to be top 3 worst liquor shots. Nate came up with this one earlier, and I think it's a really good one because right now I'm going through my last phase of college life. I usually take a good amount of shots. I take way too many, which is a problem right now for me, and the hangovers really do suck. But I'm ready to give my top worst shot. I don't know if anybody wants to go first. Dustin, you said that you haven't taken one in like 3 years. I don't know how that's possible. I mean, I know why it's possible, but I don't know really how it is. If you're human or not, what's going on?
I just believe in sober living,
Sober living, is that what you're going to call it publicly? Is that what you're going to call it publicly? You have different ways of appreciating plants. CBD.
I love tobacco, yeah.
Oh man, here we go. Perfect. I'll go first this time. How about my one that I hate the most, and I'm gonna almost gag, is vodka shots. I absolutely hate them. I mean, I think they're the most disgusting thing in the world. And the thing about vodka, not only does it taste terrible, but it doesn't really hit you. You don't even know that you've taken it until about an hour later, and it hits you, and you're just gone. Like it's a strong alcohol. It tastes terrible, but later on during the night, it hits you, and you're like, I should have never mixed that with my 8 other beers that I drank, And that's probably just a problem on my hand. That's like probably I need to go to an AA meeting soon. But yeah, vodka shots. Anybody else hate vodka here?
I don't enjoy it.
I mean, I don't like shooting it, but I don't mind sipping on the Tito's and soda or Tito's cranberry.
Ugh. I'm already feeling uneasy. I literally am. Ugh. You go, Nate. What do you got? What do you hate the most out of shots?
I'm gonna go 3 wise men.
Okay.
I think that's the nastiest rock gut shot that can ever be made.
Who's forcing you usually to do that? It's got to be someone forcing you.
No, that back when I was your age, that was a popular. Let's get someone jacked up and create some hell shot. That or a liquid cocaine or something like that. But I gotta go 3 wise men, followed closely by tequila. So, no, I might have to go tequila just because of my one night with tequila was a disaster.
Well, let's hear it. This is why we're here. This is why we're here for intermission and between sports talk. That's why we're here. A quick story, a quick recap.
So back when I was in college, myself and two of my suite mates bought a handle of Jose Cuervo, and we took shots. The whole thing, we just plowed through it. Long story short, one friend ended up naked in a ditch outside. We were all of us were on.
Was that you?
No. All of us were on like our last warning with we got written up a lot from causing trouble in the dorm. Like our door was covered with our referrals. So we were on our last warning, and the night security guard, Miss Ruth, absolutely hated us. So we had to sneak Perry was the guy's name. We had to sneak Perry in the side door. We had to open the fire alarm exit and get up the steps before she could find us. So and then my other friend passed out, and long story short, he broke into someone's suite and passed out in their bathroom, and his vomit. And then I ended up about an hour and a half away that night later. I was train hopping with another friend.
Mean driving?
No, train hopping.
What?
Yeah, so that hangover after was absolutely horrendous. So
Oh my God.
I don't remember a lot of that night, and I don't remember.
That's the same.
Just the smell of it makes me want to gag.
Yeah, that's the same. Because that's the thing with vodka too. I'll forget what I was doing, and I'm like, I will never do that again.
That wasn't really the story I was expecting.
No, not at all.
No, there were some other things that happened with some vandalism that we did that,
You shouldn't tell all of these stories on a podcast. That's
I don't care.
Well, it's over now. It's over now.
I'm 42 years old. I don't give a shit.
That's a statute of limitation.
Statute of limitations are over in that one.
Speaking of statute of limitations, Dustin, you need to give us yours.
Hmm?
You need to give us yours.
Well, I was going to say tequila, but I'll say I'm not really a guy that takes a lot of shots. I'll just say Fireball, just because I'm not really a whiskey man, unless, there's Coke in it.
Fireball's easy, dude.
Fireball is one of the easiest things. That's what all the girls do here in school. That's like easy money.
Well,
I will take a shot of that right now for fun.
My nickname starts with a P and ends with a Y, so.
Yeah. I wonder what that could be. Yeah. The tequila one, I would agree if you were to pick that. It's brutal. I think if you take it, though, on a
Give me a margarita.
Mexican coast and you put some lime with it,
it's disgusting.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
No.
I love a good tequila shot with some lime. Tastes good.
It smells like shit, tastes like shit. and it creates a lot of drama.
The best one to do is a pickleback.
I've never had one of those.
You just take a shot and then drink pickle juice.
Oh.
Special.
Not the best shot's dirty bong water.
What's the combination for that one?
There's a couple different ways to make it. You'd like it. It's good. It's good for P's and N's and Y's.
Nah. So Dustin, you got it.
It's an easy shot.
Austin, what's yours? What's your worst shot?
So all I've heard so far is great reasons why I'm still sober and don't drink alcohol. So I'm going worst jump shot. I'm going to have to go with Sean Marion's.
Sean Marion.
Oh, you were going to say Devin Vassell.
I thought about it. We're going to get there. I thought about it, but it's hard to not go Sean Marion.
But you got to say why Devin Vassell, though, Dustin, so the podcast listeners know.
We'll get to it after the Jalen Warley interview. How about that?
Yeah, we'll pick that. We'll do that. How about that?
Yeah, Sean Marion has the worst jump shot ever.
It's horrible.
Horrible. I don't understand it.
It physically hurts me.
Yeah.
By the way, before this Jalen Warley interview, I'm just going to go take a break. I'll let y'all handle it. I'll be back.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, Dustin shouted out on Twitter and said we've officially let go of Logan Robinson. He will not be here for the Jalen Worley interview. Guess what? I had to step in for Dustin last
It's not
night.
my fault that Jalen Worley can't get his days right.
No. Let's not put the blame on the kid.
Yeah, we don't put the blame on him. We don't put the blame on the 5-star recruit committed to Florida State under Leonard Hamilton.
Especially one that was willing to come on the podcast and push back Leonard Hamilton's phone call to talk to us.
Yes,
Well,
that
y'all
is
didn't
true.
y'all didn't tell me about that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. But yeah, Jalen Warley joined us on Hear the Spear, me and Austin last night. I want to jump you guys to the interview. Great interview. He talks a lot about Hamilton, talks about the current team and what he thinks about them. Preseason rankings, also talks about what he's working on. He gives us an update on his height and weight, which is actually pretty big. He's a growing guy. But yeah, Leonard Hamilton
I'm sure you were
actually
excited
called.
to hear about some
I love
height
it.
and weight updates.
It's big for basketball if I get updates on height and weight. Come on now. It's a big deal, right? Right?
Yeah,
Come
as
on.
big as it's been for football, huh? All that
I
added
think
weight's
so.
helping out.
But yeah, you'll see Hamilton calls him during the interview. So a pretty good one. I'm going to jump you to that right now. All right, with us this evening, I'm actually pretty excited for this one. I know I'm all into football, but Austin and Dustin got me into basketball, and definitely whenever Leonard Hamilton has this program rolling right now. And one of the reasons right here to look towards the future with us tonight is 5-star guard Jalen Warley out of Pennsylvania. Warley committed to Florida State in August, and he's secured pretty much the #1 class in the country for Leonard Hamilton and the Seminoles. What's going on, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing great, doing wonderful. Only got one more test left this week, and then weekend is there, football, and we got basketball coming up soon, so I'm feeling great.
Yep.
But let me ask you first, so how are you navigating the current times with the coronavirus and everything going on? How has practice gone? I know we talked about it just a little bit ago in our meeting before we started the show, but how has it really affected you in this whole COVID deal?
Yeah, no, it's kind of just been a season of adjustments. I feel like I never really had like a consistent schedule or like feel to it. I kind of just had to pack my stuff and go and kind of go on the fly. So I've kind of just done what I've been able to do for the most part, but it definitely has affected me in terms of being able to get in the gym and just like continuing to progress my game.
Yeah, to find yourself having to find different kind of, you got to organize yourself a little bit more, and because things are changing like we talked about before we hit record, but things are changing a lot, and you guys are trying to find facilities to go work out in. Some aren't allowing you to even do it, but is it kind of tricky with all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
What's some stuff you've been working on so far?
A lot of what I've been trying to do is just expand my range, making sure like defenders have to guard me as soon as I cross half court, just opening the floor. And then a lot of like non-basketball wise, I've been working on just being a leader, just because my high school teammate recently reclassed up and now he's in college. So I've kind of had to step up more vocally than I have had to do in years past. So I've just been taking that challenge head on and just continuing to develop into like a leader.
When you committed back in August to Florida State, you chose us over Michigan and Virginia and a couple others. What went into that?
Yeah, no, I mean, during the COVID era, or when it was at its prime, I was getting a lot of communication to colleges and being able to really, it gave me a great opportunity to actually learn more about the coaches individually and gave me more time on my phone to kind of learn more about them. And Leonard Hamilton just kind of just separated himself very early on, just as a person, what he rooted his team in, the kind of standards he was holding his kids to, not just like on the court, but off the court. They kind of separated themselves really early on from the pack. And then I kind of just had to wait on my hunch just to learn more about the program. But a lot of it goes to Leonard Hamilton and the program that he's built before me.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of good things. We've had guests on here who are now in the NBA. We've also had, like we had McGowan's on, which we'll get into a little bit. But we've had a lot of guys tell us, even Luke Laux that's now working with the Warriors, they've told us.
Just called me. He actually just called me as you were speaking, which is funny.
Who did? Laux did?
No, Leonard Hamilton.
Oh, did he? Oh, great. Maybe we should pause this and tell Leonard just to get in the Zoom call. We'll handle it from here. We'll just get but that's funny. I was going to get into it, but Leonard Hamilton, man, I see it even when I go to football games. I always see the basketball guys always huddled up around each other, and then if they're on the field, they're always together. It seems like a really kind of family vibe. Was that something that was pretty significant for you picking Florida State from Leonard Hamilton? Like, you get a kind of man that's like almost like a father figure. So whenever you're not at home, he's there to kind of keep you guys around him and protect it and stuff.
No, definitely. I mean, especially just because visits are so difficult in the current time that we're in. So a lot of it is just based off like the person and holding the coach at their word. And he was able to demonstrate to me that you can hold him at his word for anything. And he showed me what he was able to do in terms of with his team GPA and the type of things that teachers were saying about the students when they were in classes, and just a lot of positive about the family vibe of the team is exactly what Leonard Hamilton has been building.
If you need to text him or tell him that you can call him back in like 10, feel free to.
No, I just did. I just
okay, perfect. But what was like during your recruitment? I know you talked about Leonard Hamilton and everything, but, Florida State is an up-and-coming program right now, most certainly. I mean, I think it's already there. It's set in stone, and, we've had Terrence Mann come on and say that during his early years, building that to where it is now is what made him, so happy leaving it to where it's at, and things are going well. This could have been a Final Four, which we'll get into, a Final Four team last season. But what really excites you about being at Florida State, and you will be on campus in Tallahassee? What excites you?
From the basketball side, I'm really excited about this whole team mentality of like an underdog mentality. Just because I feel like the whole team just carries like a chip on their shoulder constantly, and that's kind of how I was able to like funnel my way up to where I am now. Just because like going to like a loaded prep school, like I didn't touch the floor as a freshman. Like I had kids ahead of me, and I kind of just had to claw and fight my way for my spot, and that's kind of just the raw energy and defensive mindset, and just overall the team. Just super excited to be in that environment constantly, and just feeding off my teammates' energy and just getting better every day.
Florida State currently holds the #1 class. How often do you keep in contact with the other guys, with Cleveland, Butler, and McLeod?
Pretty regularly. It's not like formal text messages or phone calls. A lot of it's just through social media, just because that's where everybody is constantly anyway. So we're constantly just checking up on each other, on each other's posts, and DMing each other, and just making sure everybody's okay. But pretty regularly we talk.
Going back to Leonard, though, how much does he stay in contact with you guys? That's something I've always been interested in, definitely for a guy at a 5-star status. But how many times does he contact you throughout the week?
It's probably after are you asking? Because I mean the timetable, like there was a time super like set up and things got crazy. So I mean, do you mean after I committed or before I committed?
After. I'd say after.
Okay.
I might be breaking up for you.
After I commit, I probably check in with him twice. Oh,
I think it might. The network might.
Can you hear me now?
Kind of. Yeah, I can hear you now. You're good. You're fine.
Okay. Probably like twice a week now that I committed. We just talk about how the current team's doing, what I need to work on at the high school level, and just kind of just checking in on each other as people for the most part. So, I talk to him pretty regularly.
Outside of Hamilton, what coach do you have the best relationship with? I think Coach Jones was recruiting you, and how often did they keep in contact?
Yeah, Coach Jones has been a big part for me. And a lot of things I've said about Coach Hamilton mimics my feelings towards Coach Jones, just because of how great of a person he's been through this process, and really just their characters alone. But I check in with him more regularly, so probably 4 4 times a week, I'd say.
Okay. And speaking, Austin brought up recruiting. Is there anyone that you're currently recruiting to join for Tribe 21?
At the moment, there isn't really one guy that I could say. I mean, at one point, I think the guy I was really trying to recruit a couple weeks ago was Mike Foster.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get him down here, just because I feel like he really fits our style. He's would help us. So that's probably the one guy I'd say. But
and obviously,
yeah, that's about it.
I mean, we kind of mentioned earlier. McGowan's backed off his commitment earlier. I think it was last week. Was it a surprise to you and the rest of the guys? And have you spoken to him at all since?
It was a little bit of a surprise, but I talked to him afterwards and kind of just talked to him about it and how he's basically not excluding Florida State from the picture, but just to be more careful with his decision and make sure he's making the right one. So, yeah, I mean, we checked in with him after the fact, and all the talk was positive. So.
And has Florida State's conversations with you changed at all? Because I know they're recruiting him to play point guard, and you're obviously a combo guard that can handle the ball as well. Has their vision for you changed at all since then?
No, I mean, I was already gonna be the one, and him be the two, but I think with his decommitment, I think it's just gonna allow for everybody else in the class to step up.
Which of the coaches we talked about a little bit, but which one do you have the best relationship with, and what are your thoughts on the staff overall as a program right now?
The staff's I really enjoy the staff through our Zoom meetings, just being able to talk to the rest of the staff. I think the staff is it's one unit for sure. I think through the recruiting process, I've seen some discombobulated staffs or some splitted staffs, but you can really tell that these coaches really enjoy being with each other day in and day out, understand how each other think, and they're always on the same page. So, I mean, a lot of the other coaches that I met briefly are exactly the type of people as Stan Jones and Leonard Hamilton. So everything I can say about the staff is all positive things.
Have you been able to give a timetable on whenever you're going to be able to come in and next time you'll be able to actually visit Florida State and have a true visit? Like, has the staff given you any kind of intel or info on that?
A lot of, from what I've been told, is just it's going to all be around COVID and safety. So that even if I gave you a timetable, most likely it's going to adjust. So I'm hoping that it's just before the spring. That's my hope is it's before the spring, but I don't really have a timetable.
Gotcha.
Stepping into the current team a little bit, preseason rankings are always, they're all over the place, but John Rothstein with CBS put Florida State at number 13. How do you feel Florida State's going to be this upcoming season?
I think they're going to be slept on again, and I think they're going to overachieve again. I think this team has a lot of length defensively. A couple upperclassmen guys who know the system and know the program, and then a couple younger guys who are really going to be big impact players for them. So I think they're really going to – whatever they have them ranked, they're going to overachieve. So I think it's going to be a really good year for the Seminoles.
You think it was a Final Four team last year for FSU? You think COVID robbed them?
I do. 100%.
I'm right there with you too. I was ready to buy tickets to get to Atlanta. I was full sending that trip. Who were you pulling for in the finals at least? Who were you pulling for? Lakers, Heat?
I was pulling for LeBron. I'm a really big LeBron guy.
I was just about to ask you, are you a LeBron guy or Michael Jordan? Like, what's that debate looking like there?
I think honestly it's unfair to compare the two and just to appreciate greatness, but I just appreciate LeBron just because he's just a really big a big guard and he gets his teammates involved. So
what did you tweet earlier today, Austin, about LeBron James
That his prime's
2006.
been he's basically been his prime since 2006. It's incredible.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think you can even compare it to an NBA player. You kind of have to go with Gretzky in the NHL, just as far as the prime lasting.
Right.
For yourself, is there any guys you look to model your game after?
I think a big guy I watch a lot is Devin Booker. I try to take a lot from his game, his smoothness. And then in terms of like a point guard that I really watch, I really enjoy Chris Paul, just because I feel like he's always under control and always getting his teammates involved. So.
Gotcha. Is there anything, I know we kind of talked about what you're working on in workouts, but is there something that you're wanting to get better at before getting into Tallahassee? I know you talk with Leonard and he's giving you some tips and things and what to work on and what they're actually working on inside the program right now. But what do you want to get better at before you get on campus with Leonard?
Kind of a combination of when I get on campus and before I get on campus. A lot of what I want to do is just kind of just put on weight, just to get stronger, get more athletic, and just kind of just come more into my frame, just because I don't even know if I'm done growing, but my body has constantly been growing, so it's just been difficult to put on weight. So I just this is a big year for me to kind of just see my body develop.
What's your height at now?
I went to the doctor the other day. I was 6'5.5", 195.
That's 6'5" point guard.
Yeah, that's I can't say that I'm 6'5", Jalen. I can tell you that I'm not 6'5". I got the white baseball genetics here. I don't got the tall genetics. I'll take 6'1" though. 6'1's not too bad.
Hey, not at all.
Well, Austin, do you have anything more on your end?
I think we're straight.
I think so too, man. I really appreciate you coming on here, Jalen. We'll definitely have to get you on, hopefully, once basketball picks up for you on your end too, and even whenever Florida State gets going, maybe even do a couple podcasts with guys that are also recruiting your class. I think it would be a good time for sure. Get you back on here.
Definitely. Yeah, just let me know. Definitely.
All right, Austin, we're back. I appreciate you, Austin, for being there with me on that interview. Dustin, I don't give a damn. Didn't really need you. I think Jalen really wants me to move on and be the kind
I went
of
to go
basketball
get
guy.
Wendy's while you guys were doing that.
Of course you
back
were.
now.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, how about the update though? The height and weight there that he noted on the podcast, Austin.
Yeah, he said on the podcast 6'5", 195. He's listed on 24/7 as 6'4", 175. The fact he's coming in to play point guard, you're following Scotty Barnes up with another 6'5" point guard. Scary things happening in Tallahassee.
Jump us into, Austin, the Devin Vassell jump shot story here, because I just learned about it when we were in the production meeting, but this is obviously was going to be your pick in the top 3 worst liquor shots. But
yeah, for some reason, some people are saying he's playing around, but like it looks like his same jump shot, just pulled further back. And I don't know why you would tweak that much with someone's jump shot who shoots 40% from 3. But
what was happening? What was going on in the video? Because in case people have no clue, which I had no clue, and
imagine a skinny Dirk Nowitzki that's shooting on 2 feet. That's kind of what it looks like. But like, that's not a discredit to Dirk. Dirk's my favorite athlete of all time. But like, it's not a pretty jump shot.
No, it looks like how I'm shooting. Like that's how I shoot the basketball. It looks god awful, and I should.
His shots went in though.
Yeah, and if you're hitting under rock and don't know Dirk Nowitzki, basically, if you're watching me on the webcam, you could see it. His shot's all the way back here before he releases. It's horrible.
It's almost to his scapula.
Yeah, it's. I really hope he was just fooling around because they made the person that tweeted it delete it. But oh my god. That was a bad decision.
Yeah, and I had already saw someone tweet that they were knocking Devin Vassell down a few pegs on their draft board because of that. So hopefully they do just address it and he's messing around at the end of the workout and, doesn't get overblown too much. If he is changing his jumper, I do not agree with it.
Yeah, because, he was going to be a top 7, 8 pick. There's a lot of rumors out there that Golden State's going to trade down and take him, at least from what I've heard. And then that could be 7, 8, 9. It could be in that range. So I don't know why they'd want to mess with that at all.
But would Golden State be taking him as a scorer? I think they look at him as as a defender, wing defender.
There was a report that came out, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, saying they view him as the best defender in the class. But you're not going to Golden State just to be a defender. You're going to go to Golden State because you're going to make open threes, playing off of Steph, Clay, Draymond, and these other guys.
But that shot's getting swatted into the 8th row.
Yeah, because he already had a kind of slow release, but he made it work because he's playing against college athletes and it's a high release. He's not going to be able to do that in the NBA.
Run us through the rest of these, Austin.
Yeah, the big one that came out this week was college basketball athletes are also getting an extra year of eligibility, like we saw with football this season. I think that's huge for Florida State. They've got some seniors on the roster right now with MJ Walker, Raekwon Evans, Tanner Gom, and Nathaniel Jack that I don't know if they'll all use it. I know Gom had a lot of NBA interest before he transferred into Florida State. MJ Walker's a fourth-year guy. Does he want to stick around for a fifth year? I don't know. But I think for Raekwon Evans, possibly getting him back for another year, that'd be huge. When you're losing all this experience in the backcourt, getting him with Jalen Warley and Matthew Cleveland and these other guys that are coming in is going to be huge for next season. Scotty Barnes was named to third-team preseason All-American. According to CBS.
Well, you just gloss over Nate Jack. What happened to him?
Yeah, we don't need to. Yeah, Scotty Barnes, 13 preseason All-American, according to CBS. Just more accolades for him. He was first-team All-ACC preseason as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he's named to some more preseason All-American teams.
Yeah, can't wait to see him in action for Florida State. I mean,
I'm stoked. There's
been a lot of hype coming from practices from him. I will say that.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're not in our Discord, I suggest signing up now because it's getting close to basketball season. Obviously, we've got football inside. I got my cat coming up on the desk here 20 times during an episode. I mean, that's every second. But Austin, I mean, he was throwing us a lot of nuggets last year when he joined the staff, but now it's all going to Discord. So if you guys want updates on, the best program right now at FSU, Austin's got your hookup.
We're 6 weeks from basketball season. We're getting there.
Yeah, we are getting there.
I don't understand how anyone could look at that basketball program and not see a potential Final Four team.
Yeah, again. I mean, CBS, or it was Rothstein that released his preseason top 50. I think it was, and Florida State was 13th. We talked about it with Warley in the interview, and he said that Florida State will overachieve again. I wouldn't be shocked. College basketball is predicated on having experienced guard play, and Florida State's got arguably the most experienced backcourt in the country between MJ Walker, Anthony Polite, Raekwon Evans, and even though Scotty Barnes is a freshman, he's got so much experience around him where you don't have to rely on him in the backcourt.
No, I mean, I don't follow basketball nearly, like you do, Austin, but, if Walker could be more consistent and a little bit more what they kind of thought he'd be, that just makes the team tougher to stop.
And we saw it last year in both of the Louisville games. He was unbelievable.
Yep.
He had moments last year where like, this is a really good player. If he like you said, if he takes that one more step forward to be a consistent 12, 14 point per game guy, he makes that offense really unstoppable.
Do you think Scotty Barnes gets more of a starting go than what Patrick Williams had with coming off the bench? Do you think Scotty's more of a starter than Patrick Williams? What's your take on that?
Yeah, they have to. Patrick was different because you had depth there. With this team, you've got the biggest hole they've had in years losing Trent Forrest. I love Raekwon Evans. I think he's a fantastic player, but he's not Trent Forrest. You got to get someone in there that can get those easy buckets like Forrest got, and I think Barnes can do that at his size. He's going to create a ton of mismatches.
Yeah, when you put him at the one, it's just crazy. He can defend, pass, and really, the only kind of question mark for me coming in is his jump shot. I want to see him consistently be able to stretch out defenses, but
at least he takes them. In AAU, he's shot, I think it was like 33% from three on like 30 attempts. I'm okay with that over a 10-game stretch. Just shoot it a couple times a game and make the defense at least think about it. We were frustrated with Forrest not taking threes for the first 2.5 years of his career.
He's Ben Simmons, man. He's
Ben Simmons that's not afraid to shoot.
Yeah,
I think that's huge.
You can't keep that on the bench. You have to get him in. He has to play.
I will say a lot of people around the program, I won't say in the program, think he's going to be a much better pro than in college, but that's just because he's still developing. I think by the time he's 24, 25, he's going to be an unbelievable player. Then the last one, recent decommitment Bryce McGowan's is going to re-release a top 5 on Monday. Things have gone so fast for his recruitment since he's decommitted. Kansas is interested. Kentucky's interested. UNC is interested. He's done virtual visits with LSU. He's gotten all this interest now. I know Nebraska's really going after him too to try and get him with his brother. But there's a lot of, not so clean programs going after him now. I'll say that.
Yep. Can I say
Like Georgia?
They're in there too. They are in there too.
Anybody got any of that right there? Anybody got any on them real quick? Got anything? Yeah, I think McGowan's is a good kid, but man, when it comes to those keep people getting in your ear a little bit, things can change. But
it always sucks when a kid decommits. The first thing you hear is LSU and Kentucky. You're like, oh god. Of course.
Nah, we know. You know
Kansas.
what that is.
Yeah, of course.
Yep. You know what that means, most certainly. But yeah.
Wait. Let's not be naive and think everyone's not doing it. Just some do it to a more higher extent.
Yeah, and I will say Florida State is still definitely in his recruitment. I'd be shocked if we're not on his top 5 on Monday. It's just
different things swaying the decision, which we can probably get into once we find out which team that is. We can most certainly talk about their past history and what they've done. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the basketball roundup. We got a lot more basketball talk in the next couple of weeks, and previews and the season preview and all that, and hopefully get some guests on. So basketball coverage, at least on this podcast, is going to jump up quite a bit, definitely website-wise over on NoleGameDay.com. So great stuff from Austin. Let's jump into it. I'm excited for this game. I have energy. I just got done with all my schoolwork. I am ready to talk to Florida State versus North Carolina. I am excited to be there. It should be a beautiful weekend. Right now, I was looking at it. I think it's going to be a high of 77 on Saturday. Looks like over the whole weekend, that is the most beautiful day. Low of 59. It's going to be gorgeous. Another time in Doak Campbell Stadium. Primetime kickoff, 7:30 ABC. I don't know if Kirk Herbstreit or Fowler will be there. Reese Davis or whoever it is. But I'm excited. I mean, this is once again, Florida State in back-to-back weeks is going to have to face a number 5 team in the country. But Sam Howell's coming to town, former FSU quarterback commit, flipped from there to North Carolina. And, the Tar Heels are 3-0. Florida State comes into this game 1-3. And, this is a game where I think a lot of Florida State fans have some kind of hope and have actually a real feeling in their hearts that Florida State can compete with the Tar Heels and maybe come away with an upset. There is a good amount, at least online, and some that are think that Florida State has a chance on Saturday to pull the upset.
Well, that's crazy. Because have they seen the defense?
I will say, I did want to say, though, going back to that Notre Dame game, them only allowing 7 points coming back from half is a good adjustment. It's a good optimism that adjustments are being made. Obviously, it was already dead. The horse was dead in the first half. That's it. Booyah. I mean, Notre Dame's defense is going to make adjustments too, which they did against Florida State's offense. But at least you saw that there was some optimism that maybe Fuller and company are able to make adjustments for players that need to be in, because we saw on Saturday against Notre Dame, guys were put into positions, but they're not making plays. And you're looking at veterans who are not making plays, and we already talked about that in the recap, and we're a lot more vulgar, and we didn't really have much time to think. But this defense does have a chance. It's just got to get better fluidity with who might be in personnel.
And real quick, on that Notre Dame game, Brian Kelly called a timeout because he wanted to score on that 4th down. So let's not act like they put it in neutral. And it posted they were trying to score to put up 7 more on the board. So,
no, I agree, but they also missed a field goal. They had a 3-and-out, and the reason it was a 3-and-out was because on 3rd down, the receiver dropped a wide open pass over the middle, which would have probably gone for 30, 40 yards. So, I mean, as much as we can credit that to Florida State's defense, it's also Notre Dame's offense making mistakes. If that receiver catches that ball, we're talking about another play Florida State got burned on.
It's also part of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
We can pick and choose.
They just suck.
We can choose plays, but, if, he doesn't throw that interception on the goal line, it's a 1-score game. What happens when the pressure is squarely on Notre Dame? to not lose that game.
I agree. It's all hearsay, but it could have been worse. You know, it's nice how they ended it. I'm just providing some context. And I also think North Carolina.
Debbie Downer Dustin. That's his name. His nickname now on Twitter is Debbie Downer Dustin. By the way,
I also just think North Carolina's offense is head and shoulders above what Notre Dame offers, especially with Sam Howell instead of Ian Book. I mean, Howell has got a great arm. He's got a great set of receivers. I think we talked about earlier. They've got a dynamic running game. I mean, they've really got the total package coming into Tallahassee, whereas one thing that we talked about with Notre Dame last week is the amount of depth they were replacing at wide receiver and how they hadn't really had any – no one had really stepped up to be their top target yet. UNC has that, and they have a couple guys like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And North Carolina's running game, which obviously running game defense for Florida State has been absolutely nothing. I mean, putrid. I can't do anything. No linebacker play to be able to plug holes. I mean, guys are just going to the wrong gaps, or if they're going in to be physical, they're not heading the right way. And the main part of that, I mean, obviously a lot of people want to see the young guys, but I mean, at least you'll see some really good effort from them, but you still want to see some guys that are staying on assignment, and that's going to be hard to do against an offense like that if you're going to throw in some true freshmen and try to get a better product out of him. I mean, it just doesn't always work that way. Obviously, Steven Dix Jr. is the number one guy that, you know, a lot of fans and people want to see more of. But the guys that have the most experience are Warner and Rice. Although they're not showing a great product, obviously, and they're veterans, but it's a interesting group to look at because, you know, what do you do in this situation when you're facing a guy like Sam Howell at quarterback? What are you going to do?
Especially, I mean, this is a guy who I thought he's the best quarterback in the country last year, or when he was in high school. He's just phenomenal in terms of broken plays, what he can do outside the pocket. You know, when he gets outside and has to create, you know, his arm is strong enough. He's got some balls. He's not afraid to make those throws. And he can run really well. I don't think we've really seen him run as much as people thought he was going to, but he's a really tough runner. You know, it's going to be very tough to stop the. You know, I think he's going to have those linebackers on skates.
Yeah,
all night.
For me, if the defense is going to have any chance, it's going to have to be creating turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
They've yet to show throughout 4 games that they can actually get stops, and I think they're going to get abused up front. I think they're going to run it down our throats. They're just have to get an interception here or a fumble recovery there. I think that's going to be Florida State's biggest chance.
And one thing is, you know, Sam hasn't been as efficient as he was last year. You know, he's thrown a few more little careless interceptions. He's been a little bit more, I guess, thinking his arm's a little bit better than it is, and trying to put that ball in there. So TB's going to have to make plays. And if Asante's not playing, it's going to hurt.
And I will say last week, and arguably they're against their toughest opponent so far this season, Howell had his best game of the year yet. He went 18 out of 23, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 turnovers after throwing a combined 3 interceptions in their first 2 games of the season. So he's playing his best football of the season right now as he comes into Tallahassee.
And you know he's got something to prove.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know he's going to have a chip on his shoulder.
And people don't know he's a dog, man. You know, he's going to want to try to step all over Florida State. But here's an offense, number 5 offense in the country, 7.3 yards per play. You know, Michael Carter's, 4th rated rusher in the country. And then they got Devontae Williams, who's his backup. So they have probably the best 1-2 punch right now that's playing in the country. You know, 3 wide receivers who are as good as any, Diami Brown, Daz Newsome, and Bo Corrales. You know, those are mismatches all across the board for Florida State. And you know, we can sit here and talk about it for 30 more minutes, but the defense just hasn't shown in the last eight games. You know, you go back to last year, they can't stop anyone. And so I think that RPO that quick hitter offense that they're running right now, I think is going to be a challenge for the Florida State defense. But the fact that you look at the 16 games that Mike Brown has had since he's been at North Carolina, 10 of those games are one-score games. You look at a 42-point bowl win, a 31-point win over NC State last year, a 25-point win against a really horrible Syracuse team earlier this year, and they beat Mercer by 49. Otherwise, you're looking at games that are 3.6 points. They play really close games. So despite all of that offensive talent, they really haven't taken that next step to really blow out and dominate teams. So that makes me feel a little bit better, and that's because of defense. You look at how they're recruiting this year, though. They've addressed a lot of those problems, but that's 1 to 2 years down the road. So, I think that, North Carolina's a good team.
Do you think they're at number 5? You think they're number 5 material?
Based off who's playing right now, absolutely. I think that they were playing better ball before the break, before their little 2 weeks off. And I will say Boston College is a better team than people thought. Jeff Hafley has that team. That offense is doing really well. I think that Virginia Tech, despite the fact that they had 17 guys out, Virginia Tech still put up 45. They play a lot of close games. 63% of their games under Mac Brown have been one-score games. So despite all the issues that Florida State has on defense, I think that the offense has enough opportunities and have enough chances to put up points this week.
Yeah, no, I'm hopeful that this offense is going to be able to keep up with the Sam Howell offense for Florida State. That's the only way this game is going to go into the third quarter. And after the first half, that's the only way this is going to happen. They got to find a good way to keep. I mean, they did against Notre Dame, but find drives. I think Kenny Dillingham and Norvell are the wheel is starting to turn there. They're finding out who needs to be where, which running back needs to be in which package, which wide receiver needs to be where, who's blocking the best. And it feels like that wheel is starting to turn. I thought that was a really good coached game, definitely in the first half for Norvell and company. But things got to stay that way. Things got to start moving quicker, and definitely in a game like this, it's just offense loves scoring points. But like Nate said, these games this year, except for the Mercer game, these games have been pretty close, and Mac Brown has been lucky enough to slip by some of these. I mean, Virginia Tech, that was a close game this last weekend. It was pretty much a shootout, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see another shootout in Doak Campbell Stadium on Saturday night.
No, I mean, go ahead.
I was just about to say, if Florida State has a chance, it's going to have to be in a shootout where both teams are above 40 and they have the ball last and go down the field and score. To me, that's going to be Florida State's best chance.
Send 33 on Fox and put them after Howell all night long. I mean, you saw what Gaynor, man, he's making plays, and, you got to find turnovers in this game, but he made a great one against Notre Dame, and Florida State was actually, which was shocking, should have been on SportsCenter top 10. Florida State actually fell on the ball and created a pure turnover, which was really nice to see. I was in complete, actual shock.
As long as the defense tries something new. I mean, they can't just sit here and keep doing the same things over and over. It's the definition of insanity.
They didn't, though. If you watch, if you follow, Unconquered Talk, Steve is one of the better football minds out there. He really understands the game. Florida State threw the kitchen sink at Notre Dame. If you really don't watch the offense, watch the defense. Coach Fuller did a really good job of putting his guys in position. They just didn't make the play. And that was time and time again. They blitzed a lot. They ran blitz man coverage, zone. He threw the kitchen sink at Notre Dame. And a lot of those plays weren't made, and that's that.
I'd like to see
Kyron Williams going 63 yards untouched. It's just it's guys not finishing, guys not.
And the sad part about it,
execution.
The sad part about it, Nate, is that they're veterans.
Yep.
That's the worrisome part about it. But then again, you look at you should be having Hamza Nasruddin playing. I mean, it was expected that he would be good to go against Miami, but it just seems like we probably won't see him all season. We really don't have a pure update on that. Mike Norvell just keeps on saying week to week. But, if that's just not going to happen, I can't wait. We got to see early parts of Travis Jay, but Travis Jay is going to be a playmaker. I mean, it's crazy that I got to look at practically a true freshman to make these plays and not cause these 60-yard runs for touchdowns against opponents. But Travis Jay has that mentality, and he obviously is still raw. He's a physical guy. He's probably going to miss on a few assignments, but most of those, though, he's a good tackler from what we saw in the first part of the season. But I think Florida State is hopeful to have Jay, from what I just heard in the message given to me. They're hopeful to have Travis Jay, which was actually I think, in my opinion, pretty big for Florida State.
Definitely big. But, I mean, one thing to monitor is just if Florida State is going to make some personnel changes. One you just mentioned, Logan, moving Amari Gaynor up to that Fox position in place of Janarius Robinson. And then I would also like to see maybe Steven Diggs Jr. finally take over that starting middle linebacker spot from Leonard Warner. I mean, we all know how dreadful Warner's been so far this season. And then I know Nate was talking about it earlier this week. Maybe give Brendan Gant a shot over at stud, a place where he can go out, play, use his athleticism to his advantage, and just go deliver some big hits and really just maybe improve the floor, I would say, of that FSU linebacker unit. So there's some moves that could be made to put this defense in maybe a little bit better positions of success. We just have to see if the staff is going to be willing to take out the unproductive veterans and put in these guys who have the potential to change things.
So, I'm kind of disappointed in Jaleel McRae. What happened there? I almost would like to see Dick stay where he's at, and I would like to see Lundy at in the middle. I think that fits him more. He's more of a physical presence. Not saying that Dix isn't. You're gonna have to choose what you want. You're either gonna have super unathletic upperclassmen who are just getting exposed in space, or you're gonna take guys who might make the play, but they're gonna take a bad angle or have a wrong. The run fit's gonna be wrong. So they're on two opposite ends of the spectrum right now. They're not in the middle, and that's where you would expect a guy like Jaleel McRae, who's an athletic guy, who in high school was really good in the passing game. What's happened there? And what's happened to
Deloach?
Deloach, a guy who started game one, played decently, but also has shied away from some contact. So again, it's the same story of the upperclassmen. They don't have the physicality. They don't want to put their nose in and put their hat on somebody. Is that why? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and assume. What about a guy like Kevin Glenn, who is as big as any linebacker on the roster at 6'2", 230? Give him a shot. I mean, what do you have to lose? It's obviously clear you need some athleticism and you need some physicality at linebacker. That's why I mentioned, putting Gant in the box because, yeah, he's only 195, 200 pounds, but he's going to knock the shit out of you. And he's a physical player, and also he can cover in space. So I mean, it's just it's just very concerning for me at linebacker, and the fact that they lose their best option to a decommitment, and there's nothing coming down the pike.
Well, before we overload this episode, because we still have the Warley interview in here, but let's jump into our score predictions. Obviously, primetime matchup, Florida State. That logo must hit differently, or just ESPN is just likes bullying Florida State because they know that they're down right now. That's probably that one. It's probably that one. But yeah, primetime matchup, 7:30, ABC, ESPN. I'll be in attendance there. Dustin will be covering. I'm excited for this matchup. Hopefully it stays a game, and it's supposed to be a beautiful night in Doak Campbell Stadium. But, guys, give me your score predictions for Florida State versus number 5, North Carolina Tar Heels. Austin, you go first since you haven't had to say much lately.
Yeah, it's because, I don't have a great take for this one. I think UNC is going to score on every single possession.
I like it.
And I think they win pretty handily. I think Florida State's going to miss Tamorian Terry quite a bit. They're struggling trying to find another option. I think they win 52-31.
Austin 52-31. Okay.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I think, like I said, I think this is the best offense that the defense has had to go up against this year with how dynamic they are on both sides of the ball. And it wouldn't surprise me if they scored on every possession, like Austin just said. Offensively, I think it's going to take a little bit for the passing game to kind of get acclimated without Tamorian Terry out there. But I do think we'll see Ontario Wilson have a decent game. And then, again, I really just think it's going to be up to the Florida State running attack. North Carolina was very susceptible to outside runs last week against Virginia Tech, and that's really exactly what Florida State likes to do with that RPO. So I'd like to see plenty of runs to the outside, some more of those halfback tosses that we were seeing, like the one that Damian Webb scored on against Notre Dame. And, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle. I just don't think Florida State defensively is going to be able to keep up in this one. I'm going to go North Carolina 55, Florida State 34.
So, okay. So you have a over-under at 64 right now, right? You have Carolina a 9.5-point favorite. What I find really interesting is that North Carolina, in their last four of their last 6 games, they've gone under, which is kind of interesting to me. But they're 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 games. They're 3-9 straight up against FSU in the last 12. But this is also one of the worst Florida State teams of my lifetime. For me, I think that this is going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think that Florida State's going to consistently stop Tim Howell. I think that Tim Howell will make a couple mistakes that will keep Florida State in it. I think that Florida State and Jordan Travis is going to cause some problems for that North Carolina defense. But I got 44-39 Carolina.
44-49. All right, I'm writing these down so we can look back at these every week and see how wrong we are usually. I'm just kidding. For me, I'm actually going to be the lowest, I believe, on the total poll of how many points, if I got this correctly. Oh, yeah. I think Florida State's going to make some adjustments on defense. I don't think it's just going to be enough for North Carolina's offense. I'm really worried about defensive backing, except for Asante, which I still got to get some kind of confirmation and feel better on his front to make sure that he's fully ready to go, because right now I don't trust the other corner set with Jerry and Jones right now. He's getting bullied right now. They got to find another way to go to the other side of the field on the other defensive back, another corner, or Sam Howell's just going to keep throwing the ball. I mean, they'll just keep doing that, just like how Florida State's run defense and linebacker unit has been bullied. But I do think Florida State's going to play a little bit better of a defensive product, in my opinion. I think they're going to find ways to get after Sam Howell a little bit. I think there's going to be a little bit more of some blitz packages. That's why I'm going to go Florida State 34, North Carolina 37. A 3-point loss in Doak. I think the last time North Carolina came into Doak, Florida State did lose.
Yeah,
by a field goal though.
At the buzzer.
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't even probably say that. The listeners probably going to kill me saying that. But 37-34, which obviously is not as many points as you guys have put down. So I'll be interested to see if I'm wrong. But it should be a shootout nonetheless. Most certainly. Offenses should have a good night to score. Let's see. Let me go ahead and end this off. I need to shout out our 10 latest Patreons: Brady, Stephen Hudson, Andy Dilber, Anthony Moore, Ben Grunwald, Brian Farina, Jonathan Taylor, Ben Grunwald, Tyson Brom, and Will Schlott. God,
I feel like you read the same 10 names every week. I don't know why.
It does seem like the same 10.
There's a lot in here that, like, if they're reoccurring members and stuff like that, it comes through probably that way. There's a lot of names that seem like they're the same, though. That's for sure, unless there's some freaks in here. But that is our Patreon. You can sign up at patreon.com/NoelGame. That's where we give our insider news, recruiting news, basketball news, and program news. We also had some Bobby Bowden updates throughout the week. Obviously, actually, we need to comment. I'm actually glad to hear I got word while I was at the gym, got a text that he is actually at home and back to his regular self, feeling good. He obviously was dealing with COVID-19, and they were treating him at the hospital, but it's good to see Bobby's fine. He gets another win under his belt, and really happy to hear Bobby Bowden is doing good, and hope Miss Ann is also doing good over there too.
It's time to give him his wins back.
Yeah, time to get the wins back. It is. It is.
Too late for him to get his wins back.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, good word for Bobby Bowden. Maybe that's just the start of good news for Tallahassee. We'll see. We'll see what happens Saturday night. Thank you guys for listening. Really appreciate you all, and we will see you guys for our instant reaction Saturday evening. See you guys.
Mama told me not to sell word. 17.5, same color t-shirt. Mama told me not to sell word. 17.5, same color t-shirt. Mama told me not to sell word. 17.5, same color t-shirt. Mama told me not to sell word.